Hey, what's up? I'm Risky. This is Gato Roboto. And it's a Meowtroidvania, as coined by the devs, where you play as Kiki the cat, trying to rescue your owner Gary after you guys crash land on this planet. And you have a little radio collar attached to you, and Gary's talking to you and trying to, like, lead you where to go. So, as a cat, you move faster when you're in the air. It's like 20% faster than when you're on the ground, so we jump a bunch here. But that doesn't even matter anymore because now we are a cat piloting a mech. And we're going to be piloting the mech for most of the game. And as a mech, being on the ground or in the air doesn't matter. So we have these shots right here as a mech. That's pretty much all we can do right now. And we can jump. And we have 6 health as a mech. As a cat, you die in 1 hit when you get touched, and you don't have any way to attack people, so yeah, it's not that good to be a cat. It doesn't really help us anywhere. And we are just gonna travel over here to the first save point, and we're gonna do the first major glitch of the run. It's the biggest glitch in the run, and it's called small mech. And if you eject on a certain frame, the same frame that the save point gives you a mech, because that's what standing on a save does, it just automatically suits you up. You get something called small mech, and you can see our gun arm disappeared completely, and we're like kind of inside the ground. The game gives us our cat hitbox while we're in the mech, and this lets us skip a cutscene, which we just did in that room before that one. We just skipped a fight entirely because of it, and we'll be doing a lot of that throughout the run. That's just the first taste of it there, and this is one of the last times you'll be seeing us in cat form, because going through here, a small mech just is not really worth it. Or even possible, honestly. We can't get the mech over here. And now we got the rocket module there. Now we're going to be able to shoot rockets as a mech. This is the sickest part of the game, like by far. It is so fun to use the rockets. Yeah, we use them for movement, we use them to kill stuff. Mainly for movement, because it's awesome. You get to do like jumps and stuff. If you shoot them into a wall, you bounce upwards. If you shoot them down into the ground, you know. So we get small mech again, and we skip a boss right there. You can see the boss's health bar at the top of the screen. And you can also see there's a heat bar on the left that we're going to be managing very carefully. And you can only shoot 2 rockets like in succession before you overheat. And you have to wait till you cool down to shoot them again. We'll be managing our heat bar like everywhere and doing some really specific movement through every room. So like we shoot 1 rocket at the bottom and then delay a little bit and shoot 2 more. That kind of thing. We did a back boost off a wall there. It saves very little time. We only do like a couple of them in the run. It's just not convenient to do them. Shooting upwards boosts you downward pretty quickly though. And we do that here and a few other places. And now the first couple segments are done. After this, we have a choice to go either left or right. Going left is 1 area that we have to clear. Going right is 2 areas we have to clear. We have to clear all 3 at some point anyway, but we go to the left because it's just slightly faster in the end, if you do all the movement correctly. And also coming up right here is the other major glitch of the run. This one's called water mech. And essentially you eject at a certain point while you're getting knocked back during a missile, and you can drop your mech into the water. Normally you can't bring the mech into water. And this lets us do this whole area backwards, which is very cool. Since we're underwater, when we shoot a missile, it instantly explodes, which lets us do these down boosts that normally we wouldn't be able to do. And the way this whole area is designed is there are 3 levers, and each lever will drain some of the water from the area. Like, if you hit any of the levers, it'll drain 1 level of water. And that lets us go to this one. Like, we go to the last one first, because after we do that, we can backtrack to the other 2 and there'll be no water in them. Which means we can just go right through them way quicker than we normally would and just do all of them backwards. So this is the lever. And it's not going to have any noticeable difference on this level, sorry, but we'll see in like a minute or two. And now that we got that, we're going to do water mech for the second time in this area. And this one isn't frame perfect, but it is extremely finicky, and getting it first try is great. So a little arena here. And now we are going to get double jump. First major movement upgrade, and it's called spin jump, sorry. But it's essentially a double jump, and it also lets us boost with rockets. If we shoot a rocket at the same time, we can boost ourselves forward by shooting the rocket backwards without having to actually explode it on any terrain. And we're going to be using this everywhere in the run now. That's us missing it with 2 rockets. You saw how slow it is? And that's us getting it with 1 rocket. So it's extremely quick. And now we got water mech for the last time during this segment, thankfully. And we're still underwater now. But now we're going to rush up to the first level. And the water is slightly lower here, and you can see these like squids and all these fish are out of water because there's supposed to be water here when you go through it normally. And you'd go down there in like a submarine, and it would take a while. Instead, we just get to go here and drain this lever right here. And now 2 levels of water will be drained, so we can go to the second level and just clear that one out. And honestly, the mech movement is way more fun than the submarine movement, so I'm glad that we're able to do this. Doing these back boosts is probably the most enjoyable part of this game, honestly. It never ever gets old. Yeah, you're gonna see all these fish just chilling here, not able to do anything. Man, that is some sloppy movement. That's all good. Holy moly. We're gonna double boost here and do a little boost off this fish, so we can do those rockets up top. And now it's a pretty finicky jump here too. I'm glad we got it first try. I failed that a lot. And we're gonna get small mech again. And coming up in this next room is going to be another arena that we kind of abuse. So this is a mini boss that we're shooting. We have to kill it because we can't have small mech on the way. Like, we cross through this room again, we won't have small mech on the way back. So we kill it, and we trigger the arena, and then it just ends instantly. And we complete it, and the mini-boss doesn't move around. Normally he moves to the left and right, and he's very obnoxious. And this way we just don't even care about it. We leave, we're gonna get small mech. And small mech doesn't really benefit us in this area, but we're gonna need it for the next segment, and that's the most convenient save point that we can get it at. We're gonna shoot into the ceiling here. That does give us a bit of an additional boost. Whenever we get the chance, we're gonna like kind of hug the ceiling with our double jump and shoot the rocket into it. Because like we're like half inside the ceiling since we have small mech. The missile just always spawns inside the terrain and gives us the boost right away. And Aqueducts is done. Next up is the heat segment. That's where the next major movement upgrade is. And the heat segment is probably my favorite. There's a lot of cool movement. None of it is particularly hard. And it all looks very swag if you get it right. This game in general just looks swag when you get stuff right. This has been somewhat sloppy now that I'm rewatching it, but what are you gonna do? Cool cycle skip coming up in the next room. So with some kind of specific boosts, you get to go past this lava wall and you don't have to wait for it. Saves like a second or two. And just a lot of managing our heat bar here and just doing some specific boosts. Like we'll only shoot one here, so we get two in the next room and can do this. Coming up is a major skip that looks really like nothing, but walking through that small gap, you're not supposed to be able to walk through that. And you can't become a cat while the heat is still like here. We have to like destroy the heat generator or whatever. So we just walk through that with small mech, and it lets us, again, do this area backwards pretty much. That's a pretty common theme with small mech, because all the shortcuts were designed with being a cat in mind when you leave. So we just get to go through them with small mech, and it's rather abusive. So, like right there, we go through that crawl space, and we even destroy blocks, which you can never do as a cat. That's a shortcut that you use to leave afterwards. And we destroy all these. Now you can see it's like not hot anymore. Now that we've destroyed all the generators. That was the main goal of this area, just like the levers were in the last one. So now we can leave. We also picked up a coolant module, which lets us shoot 3 rockets before we overheat now instead of 2, which is dope. Like, love that. And there's one last thing we need to pick up before we leave. And that is the phase dash. There's a very small cooldown dash that, yeah, we're going to be using a lot of for the rest of the run. It is fast. And heat segment is over. Not too bad. Definitely had some mistakes though. Now we're gonna go to the vents, and it's directly to the right of this. And we're just gonna go through all these crawl spaces with small mech again. We just maintain small mech throughout both of these segments. And yeah, you're obviously not supposed to be in here with the mech. And once again, we are going to backtrack, and you're not supposed to have the mech at all during this area, basically, except for one small part. You're supposed to do the whole thing as cat. So we just go here, go to the final boss of the area, kill it, and then press a button. You're supposed to use these cannons on the side in cat form, and kill this boss like in phases, and instead we just shoot him with some missiles and some bullets. And he dies. And here's the button, and now the fans are turned on. And with these 3 objectives complete, we can now enter the last area of the game, essentially. This room is so finicky. You want to enter the fans at the base of them, basically, to get the biggest boost that you can. But that was good enough. I would take that any run, just because it's so hard to do that part right. So vent's done, and we could try and access the last area right now, but when you do that, we are told we have to go somewhere and get one more thing first. So we're gonna go get that thing without trying not to spoil too much of the story here, but we are going to go pick up that thing, and doing so like with a trick. It only saves like 2 seconds, honestly. Just lets us skip the cutscene that says go get this, and we just go get it first. It's called early decoder, and you just go really high up and boost to the side, and you hit this little transition here, and you grab this item. And it's just the key to the last area, pretty much. And no, you cannot just get this earlier in the game and get to the last area way sooner. We have tried that. You still have to clear all the other areas first. Well, that would be really sick. And now this is incubator. So very cool movement in this area. A lot of things you need to destroy in your way. and like time your dashes after your missile shots and stuff. This is the second to last area of the game. The Homestretch. Dashing that little clump right there so we can get a good shot off, and then keep going through. We're gonna do another small make arena skip coming up here. And yeah, this dude will be moving around. It's obnoxious. If you ever played this casually, you will know how obnoxious these guys are. If you have not played this casually, I highly recommend it. It's only like $5. It is very high quality. We just killed 2 invisible enemies there with missiles, and we're gonna kill another one as we dash to the right. And these are like flying enemies that would just normally we'd have to kill anyway, but as long as we don't kill the final enemy, we can trigger, or sorry, we can't kill this final enemy while he's invisible. It's just, he's just invincible until he charges. So that arena's done. And now we leave. We can't skip this arena with small mech because there's a door blocking us. So we have to kill all the enemies here. And now the final water mech of the run is right here. Kill this guy and these 2. And it opens a door down bottom. We're gonna go over here and grab small mech real quick because it is the most convenient place to grab it right now, and we'll need it for later. And it lets us do this room, which wants us to be a cat in like a kind of cool way. You don't want to have to be a cat, shoot that little thing, hit the treadmill and stuff, and we don't gotta do any of that. We're a small robot. Okay. Here's the elevator, and this is essentially waves of enemies spawning that we have to kill. You want them, the frogs, to spawn in a row of 3 above you, ideally, so you can shoot one missile and, like that and kill all 3 of them. It's RNG where the gap is in the frogs, though, so you can't really rely on that. If you're slick, like that shot I just did there, you can shoot to the side and still kill 3 with really good timing. And now this, there's gonna be 2 more little helicopter dudes. And then it's gonna be 4 little distortion 2 flying guys that we kill. And once they're dead, basically, it doesn't really matter how fast you clear the last part, unless you do it like really slow. So, like on the side here, you see this guy on the left. There's going to be 4 of those essentially in the pattern. That's 2. Here's the 3rd one, and then you have to wait for all 4 of them, no matter what, until the exit, or like for the exit to the elevator to spawn. It doesn't spawn until you do all 4. So. We already have small mech, and we can just breeze through this room. The movement in this part is super, super fun. Specific strat here to kill these 3 guys with our missile cooldown, like, managed very well. Now these punch bots have a very, very strange strat you can use on them. That's like spacing and timing specific that lets you shoot down and hit them with all 3 missiles in a row. If you ever fight those guys, you'll understand how extremely awkward they actually are with their iframes and when you can hit them. Like, it just feels so inconsistent at times. Like, that didn't damage him right there. But we have a pretty okay strat for this room where we just kind of stay far away and shoot our missiles. It's not that much slower to shoot your missile like in small intervals like that on the punch bots instead of doing the down strat, but This is the final arena of the room, of the run. And after this, we will have basically 2 more rooms in the game. Well, this is the final boss. Well, no, this is the first form of the final boss. He is right there, and we're just going to shoot him a super specific number of times to get him very, very low life and without killing him. Because if we kill him, then the game crashes. You don't really want the game to crash in a speedrun, so that's why we don't want to do that. And now, that's the main villain of the story. No spoilers. It might be a mouse who switched his brain with Gary. Anyway, so that's the first phase. And you learn the mouse is just trying to resurrect Baxter, his dog. Baxter is a good boy. This part of the boss, we're just shooting with rockets. We have to make sure we shoot them over his bullets because his bullets destroy the rockets. Other than that, it's pretty simple. And here, we mess up the first try at this, but we shoot a missile and then eject. And it lets us keep the mech for the next part when we're not supposed to have it. We almost died for it, which would have been a bummer, but it was good. It's actually like perfect mech placement. So Baxter actually defends us because Gary's kind of a jerk right now. Mouse Gary. And we get in the mech, and we're just gonna go to the spaceship and escape. Because this is an escape pod for me and Baxter. But I may have escaped without him. I went a little too fast. Sorry, Baxter. No, he's there. I'm just kidding. I would never leave Baxter behind. Ever. Okay? Come on. Who do you think I am?